Okay, so hello again, and today's video the question is, how do you get a tech job in Japan from overseas? And I'll give you some examples or the different routes you can take depending on where you come from and what visa options you have. And like all my other videos, I'm filming near Tokyo Station, just outside. Near on this bicycle here. Okay, so jump straight into it. The one way to come here is through a holiday working visa, and it depends on which country you come from. So you would have to double check if your country can use the working holiday visa in Japan. And so for working holiday visa, it's something like between the age of 20 and 30 or 35, depending on your country. And that's the visa I came here on the first time around 11 years ago. So if you're a country where you can use the working holiday visa, you get that visa for 1 year and you're permitted to only work something like 20 hours a week or kind of part-time. And the reason why you would want to use a working holiday visa is that you can approach companies in real life, not online. So that you can jump into a company which you actually think will be good for you. The other way is if you come straight applying overseas and you come over, the worst thing is if you come over and you enter a company that you hate, that's the worst situation to be in. So the pros of using working holiday visa is you have 1 year to find a job. You can work a part-time job while you hunt around for companies. And being here in person really is much better than being online because of that human interaction, what we've all been missing for the past 2 years or so. So the requirements for the working holiday visa, as I remember clearly, you have to double check depending on your country, but it's something like $3,000 in the bank and a return flight. And then you have to give a letter saying why you want to come to Japan. That letter I wrote was something like, what you write doesn't matter. Just say something like, I think my friend wrote, I want to come to Japan and look at castles or something. Like he really loves castles, so just make that letter, get your money ready, work hard on your part-time job, and then get that working holiday visa. And then in my case, I didn't get, my first job wasn't IT job, so I was just an English teacher, but it would work the same for you if you have a working holiday visa getting into an IT company. You'd be able to work 20 hours a week and get paid, and then if they like you, you can renew your visa towards the end as a full-time visa, a proper working visa. So that's one option, working holiday visa. And I'll do another video about how exactly I did everything, but for now, that's just one option. And so another option, which one of my viewers I became an acquaintance with, he's from Brazil. He came here first on a student visa. I didn't get too much detail, but he came on a student visa, and then from a student visa, he entered a Japanese company. And the reason you might want to do that is you might want to get better Japanese before you enter. So that's also possible. But as you can imagine, a student visa costs quite a lot of money. I'm not exactly sure the total costs, but when I look around for language schools, which I was thinking about early on, I couldn't afford the schools. It was a bit expensive for me. But you're going to be paying a few $1,000s a month, maybe, or $1,000 or $2,000 a month, depending on the city. So that is an option, to come here on a student visa for about 6 months or 1 year. Then after you've improved your Japanese, you start approaching Japanese companies. And because you're here in real life, it's way easier for you to have meetings with companies and join a company. So the working holiday visa and student visa. The student visa, though, might be a bit expensive. I couldn't afford a student visa at the start, and I wish I could. I wish I could go to a language school and get like N2 or N1, but it wasn't an option or maybe I just couldn't work hard enough to save up how many thousands of dollars for that. So student visa, and then start approaching Japanese companies in Japan. So I think also to remember that I think this, if you do the student visa and try to get a job in Japan, you'll still need a degree, and a degree, bachelor's degree of anything. So just keep that in mind. If you don't have a degree, you have to either have something like 10 years experience in the field. Like there's all these ways around it, but it's not something that, like most of my viewers, it says between the age of 20 and 35, or 15 and 25 or 35. So chances are you won't have 10 years experience. And if you did, you probably wouldn't come to Japan, I don't know. But so that's the second option. Okay, and another one is, so I think I mentioned it before in another video, but if you just do it the traditional way, but just applying online through LinkedIn and Indeed, I'm not going to show you the screen on how to do it. There's enough. You can do it yourself. You just research on Google jobs, engineering jobs in Tokyo, and see what happens. And that is an option. And if you are a mid-level engineer or up, I think that might be the easiest without risking anything. Yeah, so you can see in LinkedIn, there's a Google, there's Facebook, there's all the top companies you can join. Whether you get them or not, I don't know. I don't know the data on which countries they actually hire. So if you come from a developing country, I don't know how these large companies, I wouldn't say discriminate, I wouldn't say racist or anything like this, but if you come from Silicon Valley, if you come from Auckland City or something, maybe they view you differently in these middle to large size companies. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but I don't know. I don't have enough data or experience in that. So the thing about those companies as well, they're mostly high competitive incomes or quite competitive companies. So I'm not sure how that would work. Those LinkedIn jobs, or just finding some what do you call those people? A recruiter saying, "Hey, come to Japan" or something. It's a little messy for me. Not messy, but I wouldn't trust it that way. I don't know why. And also applying for a job overseas, then coming here directly, you have that problem of you don't even know if you like Japan yet. So that's another part. Like I know some engineers who came from their country without knowing much. They just jumped straight into a job, and then they quit after a few months because they don't like it here. And that's the truth. Some people have that. So just keep that in mind. Maybe the safest way is to come here first on some type of holiday visa or tourist visa, and then just talk to companies that way. But I also know two guys, one guy's from Bangladesh, the other guy's from Korea, and they went straight to one of the companies I met them at. I would say it's under 20 developers. It's not, I wouldn't say it's your dream job, but just even if you go to a company that you don't like for 2 years, it's just some typical development job, you can jump to quite a good company. So the two guys I know, I met them in this smaller company, and then about 1.5 years after they came to Japan, they worked hard at this company. I wouldn't say it's the best option, but it was the best option at that time. They worked 1.5 years, and then one of them works at one of the largest companies in Japan now as a Java engineer, and the other guy works at one of the top marketing advertising companies in Japan. He's a Korean guy. So just because you join a small company here, it doesn't mean you have to stay with them for whatever, 2 or 3 years. You can just work 1 year, work your ass off. You don't tell them you're going to quit and join Rakuten or join Facebook. You just work for 1 year and a bit, and then slowly look around for other jobs. So that is one option which I recommend as well. Just get here first, even if you don't like the job or the company, just work hard for 1 year, and then you can join there's so many big companies you can join. And maybe the last one I would like to talk about is that remote work from overseas is highly possible. I have a few friends that hire freelancers overseas from Philippines. I think he's also got some in North Africa somewhere. And so if you can work remotely for a smaller company first, so they pay you to work, you can already find a client, or you can already find someone to work with if you want to come to Japan. And it's also that you already start to make a good connection with people, a good workflow, that you don't have to worry or stress, oh, is this going to be a bad company, or I don't know if I'm going to like this. So even if you come and you don't like Japan, you still have your client to work with. And even if you go back to your country, you still have your client to work with. So either way, you're safe. So that's some some companies I know, fully remote overseas, they work full-time with. So that's one great option for some people, especially if you don't have a degree. That's a good option, because they will cut costs by hiring someone from a developing country. Let's say they only paid $2,000 a month. In Japan, you'd have to pay at least $3,000 a month for any engineer, basically. So if they pay you $2,000 and your local economy, $1,000 is great. So you're getting way more than your average engineer. But if you can do that already, maybe you just work for an American company and they'll pay like $3,000. So I don't know how that economy works. So I hope you can understand some of the options which I've seen people do, or I've done myself. And I hope that can help you somehow to understand. I'm not going to go through all the details of each visa, because hey, I'm the cheapest guy on the street. I'm not going to spend so much time editing. So sorry about that. Maybe in the future you can research yourself, but hopefully that can give you an understanding of how you can do this. But also remember, if you are a student in university or even high school, start now and start connecting with small companies. And maybe even not even Japan, like any New Zealand company, Australian company. Just your power that you have is that you can undercut the costs of a middle engineer. So that's kind of your best friend. Anyway, thanks for watching, and stick around for another video. Thanks. A message from our sponsor, me. So if you like Japan and you're an engineer, or if you're in Japan or outside Japan, or you want to come to Japan and engineering, and you want to just increase your connections in Japan, how many times have I said Japan? I'm starting my own service. There's a link in the description. It's called Devipo, development, and Ippo meaning step. It's your first step to make a connection in Japan. And there's a link there with a form. If you fill it out, it will help me a lot to connect you with foreign developers with Japan. So yeah, fill it out. And if you don't like it, you can delete the form by selecting delete, and I'll delete it for you. Basically, to simplify it, every Monday these forms are sent to companies. The companies can request a friend request on LinkedIn, and then from there it's all up to you. You can maybe freelance with them, maybe you're a student, maybe you're already working in Japan and you want to just make some connections for possible freelancing. So give it a try and help me out, and I'll help you out.